clawing our way out of our graves to bring you your weekly dose of chaos and darkness. I'm Rexy.
And I'm Lillie. And this is the Morning Report.
Hi, mourners.
Hello.
Hi, Lillie.
I'm so
And
little.
hi, Steve. Lily's tiny, just way in the background.
Teeny tiny.
Hey,
That's
some
that-
light. Check that out.
That's my husband.
You guys might
This
remember
being
him from Discordianism a while
Yay!
back now.
A while back, yeah.
It was super fun, and we wanted to have him come back. So,
Yeah. Talk about more
continue.
Weird stuff.
Yeah. And since we're in the middle of spooky month, we wanted to continue talking about creepy shit. Or creepy people.
creepy people.
Couldn't have picked a better one.
I don't know. Last week's episode was pretty creepy.
It
What
was.
last week?
The Australian cannibal.
Oh, that's pretty creepy.
Yeah. But before we get to the main event,
I got.
what's up?
Oh, I lost the sound for a second.
We're
Before
testing
we
out
get
this
to the main
headphone
event.
series.
I have a news story for you.
Oh, Lord.
Picked, as usual,
scared
right
because
from the
mine's
tree
normal.
of news stories. Yours is normal?
Mine's normal. I'm very scared about what yours is.
Mine's not.
Oh. Either Daryl's
It's,
slipping or he's just trying to
It's
slip us
not
switch
bodies
us up.
where they shouldn't be, at least, but it's not normal.
That's normal for us at this point, though.
Okay. This was written September 28th of 2023, this year. And it's from apnews.com. And the headline says, Phillies, like the baseball team, Phillies deny emotional support alligator from entering ballpark.
I've heard about that.
So fucking true. A Phillies fan and his emotional support animal, an alligator named Wally Gator, were denied entrance to watch Philadelphia host Pittsburgh. Social media posts showed the gator on a leash with a harness with his name on it outside of the stadium on Wednesday. Wally Gator is a working emotional support alligator owned by Joy Henney of Jonestown, Pennsylvania. The reptile has a big presence on Instagram and TikTok, and don't worry, we will link them.
What?
Yep.
What?
Citizens-
You know, have whatever you want for an emotional support animal, but you have to know the limits of taking it out in public.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Leo says it's because alligators can't throw batteries at the players, which is required to be a Phillies fan. What? Batteries?
What? I'll take the batteries over a bite. Well,
Yeah, maybe. Well, unless it, maybe, I don't know. Citizen Bank Park's policy on emotional support animals is posted on the Phillies official website. It states, guide dogs, service animals, or service animals in training are welcome. All other animals are prohibited. Kenny spoke to the Philadelphia Inquirer last year and said Wally Gator helps him battle depression and that he likes to give hugs. Kenny said then that the gator had never bitten anyone.
Of course, that means he never will.
I mean, what if the Phillies are losing and the alligator gets really upset?
Maybe.
But can I just show that? I'd like to point out that both of our mental illness came out when we were talking about getting bitten by an alligator. We both were like, maybe. I like bites.
And now it's documented. Like, God, bites are nice.
Yeah, I like bites.
Yeah.
I'll consider it.
I'll
not the
think
worst
about
thing
it for
that's
a
come out.
minute. Right.
It's not the worst thing that's come out on this podcast.
Oh, by far. So we will definitely link to Wally Gator's Instagram and his TikTok so that we can all follow along. And I'll put a picture of Wally Gator in his little harness right here. So that's what I got. You missing a finger? Yeah, alligator get you.
Was I?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
No.
Your hand's just like vanishing. Oh, yep. Jump.
The woods was taking me.
Like Back to the Future, the picture where he starts disappearing piece by piece.
Oh, this episode's gonna derail so quickly.
Okay,
He's gonna try so hard to keep us on topic.
I'm going to
It's
try.
not gonna work.
Good luck. Speaking of on topic, though, would you like to tell us what you're here to tell us about?
I'm here to talk about Aleister Crowley. In the background there, Rexy's video. Yeah. That's a later in life picture.
Spooky, creepy motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
I can hear Nova's.
I'm gonna go.
He was a weird dude. Kind of the what was that writer's name that got in a bunch of trouble because he was gay and had a lot of sex with various people. Can't think of his name now.
Nope.
Oscar Wilde.
Oscar Wilde.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, he was the Oscar Wilde of the occult.
Okay. I know about as much as my pinky nail right there about Oscar Wilde.
I just learned a little bit more.
Same.
So go for it, babe.
All right. So
Educate us.
Aleister Crowley, born Edward Alexander Crowley on October 12th, 1875, in a little town in England called Royal Leamington Spa. It was a spa town, so apparently there was like natural spas there.
Oh,
Probably still
nice.
is.
Okay.
It's about 20 miles south of Birmingham, where Black Sabbath is from.
Oh man. Okay.
Yep. His father, Edward, was an engineer, but retired in his 40s because he was the heir of a family brewing business, Crowley's
Like beer.
Alton Ales. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, obviously that's where Crowley. We'll get into it in a little bit. Crowley had a bunch of money for a while there.
Okay, how he got his name?
What?
Aleister.
No.
Ale.
His name was Alexander, though. That was his middle name. But
that's a stretch, but that's okay. We stretch for a lot of things around here.
yeah. His mother is Emily Bertha Crowley, May Bishop.
Bertha.
Yeah.
That's a horrible name.
Edward, the father, was born into a Quaker family. He converted to an offshoot of Christian fundamentalism called the Plymouth Brethren, which Emily converted to when they got married.
So what made them stand out?
I tried to find a little bit more about it, but really it was just
They were normal parents.
the family.
No, I
Yeah,
mean
more or
the
less.
Plymouth.
The fundamentalist
Brethren,
group,
yeah.
they're just seriously fundamentalist, like
Okay.
Like-
literal interpretation of the Bible kind of people.
Like Duggar level fundamentalists.
Maybe more.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ugly. So Aleister Crowley never got into the Christian thing. He was always very much disliked it, and it was his mother who first named him the Beast. So that was the
What a
nickname.
fucking nickname from his mother.
Right, yeah, that was a nickname that pretty much stuck with him his whole life publicly. And
At least our child has declared herself the devil.
right.
I'm not surprised.
I didn't give her.
So, yeah, when Edward Crowley retired at 40, they had a bunch of money, and he became like pastor in this group. And Crowley was Aleister Crowley, was passed around to different like Christian boarding schools when he was young.
Like a villain origin story.
Right? Isn't
I've
it?
ever heard.
Right.
So, and then the dad died in 1887. Aleister, I think he was 11 at the time, not yet 12. And he started openly questioning, Christian doctrine at his Christian schools, like immediately following his dad's death.
That sounds kind of dangerous.
Yeah, this is 1887 England. He started getting in trouble for smoking, and as a young man, sleeping with prostitutes.
Which is also kind of dangerous back then, just considering diseases and.
He got gonorrhea in like high school. Eventually.
Is that the case with you, or is
No,
that
you can get
get rid of it.
Get rid of gonorrhea. And then so eventually he just got kicked out of all the schools, and he went to live with a tutor from this fundamental, Plymouth Brethren. They got him a tutor in wherever Eastbourne, England is. But it was at that point he started. Everybody thinks of Aleister Crowley as the creepy occult guy, which he was, but he was also like really, really, really into mountain climbing, and chess.
Okay.
It turned out. I didn't even know that. Ooh.
That is a young Aleister Crowley.
At times a good-looking dude. And so when he was in Eastbourne, England, being tutored by the fundamentalists, he started playing chess and mountain climbing a crazy amount. He ended up joining the Scottish Mountaineering Club. He was no kidding. He climbed the five like tallest peaks in the Bernese Alps. And again, this is prior to college, so he
looked like that when he was climbing mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yep. So he climbed
I don't have any weird search history.
Well, what's weird? I mean,
it's us, not much, but I can see what she's doing or they're doing. I just didn't.
Safe search off, Leo says. So then he did eventually go to college. He went to Cambridge University, and it was in 1895. And he adopted the name Aleister, which he said he never felt like an Edward because that was his dad's name, and Alexander didn't really fit. And Aleister is like the Gaelic version of Alexander, so he started going by Aleister.
I wondered where that was going to come in. The picture I just threw up on the screen is just an example of some mountains in Scotland. So some mountains that he was climbing when he was
like 17.
Zoom in.
I
will put a better picture right here when I'm ending.
Yeah. 1895. Entered Cambridge. Started going by Aleister. He went to Trinity College at Cambridge. He studied philosophy for a little bit, and then English. While there, he continued, especially like both chess and mountaineering. He at one point considered like being a professional chess player.
Is that something you can choose to do?
Apparently, it was in 1895.
I just thought that was something that you just bestowed upon you.
Right, you just are like, I'm gonna choose to go down this career path.
You're really good. Here, professional chess player. Just for
We're gonna pay you to play chess.
So, and then he actually got recognition from the like Alpine mountaineering community, and then he started writing. First book of poems was written in 1898, so he was 23 by then.
Okay.
What
was his first book called?
I do not remember. Like, I didn't write down any of the books he wrote because it's endless. He wrote so much. it. You looking it up?
Wasn't, but I can.
Go ahead. Yeah, I didn't. There's just no time.
It looks like it was called Al-Sadama, A Place to Bury Strangers in 1974. Does that seem right? 74?
He had been dead for like 25 years by then.
So that was definitely not.
Wow. But I'm going
What's
to
the name of that book?
I'm looking.
too.
1986? Is that no?
No,
18. Is this it? Songs of the Spirit?
That could be it.
God damn, a copy of it goes for $7,552.
Yeah.
That's like, work done by bad people goes for much more. Like an original Hitler art piece is so expensive.
Yeah.
This is bananas. I think it's either this book or this is one of them. Looks like he also wrote a book called Rock Climbing in North Wales.
Like I said, so many books.
Wow. Yeah.
All right, here I have a list of poetry.
Oh,
No,
okay.
that's 1974.
List of works by
That's what I
Aleister
found
Crowley.
too.
Yeah.
It looks like everything's been published in 1974 and later. Has
Right.
been republished.
Republished, yeah. And
When I
a lot
found that one
of
in-
it's been collected.
When was he alive?
18s.
1800s.
Yeah, he died in like 48, I think.
Okay.
And I'll
19 or 18?
19.
48.
Yeah. He was born in 1875. Like, yeah, the late 40s.
Okay.
Anyway, so in 1896, while at Cambridge, he had what he considered his first mystical experience during a romantic entanglement with another man, which,
He got haunted?
No, he had a same-sex sexual experience.
I see. I was going a different direction with that.
In 1896 in England, it was illegal.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder, instead of that just being a mystical experience, it was his first really good orgasm.
It could, but how's that different?
It's
Yeah,
not.
mystical experience.
I mean, we've all been there.
And then 1897, he entered into like a more long-term relationship with a man named Charles Pollitt. And that ended because Charles was not comfortable with Crowley's increasing interest in the occult. And then let's see, in 1898, he got a copy of A.E. Waite's The Book of Black Magic and Pacts. I had this book at one point. And a copy of The Cloud Upon the Sanctuary, which is another kind of early occult book. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of him finding, kind of obscure magical books and sort of subsuming that into his own like philosophy. And let's see, in July 1898, he dropped out of Cambridge, and in August of that year, he met Julian Baker.
That's
Yeah.
his boyfriend.
That was Pollitt.
He looks scared to death.
He kind of
Well,
looks like
he's British.
Draco to me, like
A little bit.
when Draco Malfoy got to be like an older teenager.
Yeah.
It looks like Draco to me a little bit.
Yeah. Or what's his name? Cthulhu. Lovecraft. Lovecraft looked very similar. Skinny,
Yeah.
very
Mhm.
like posh.
He's a nice looking dude though. But yeah,
Yeah.
that is Pollitt. And then
So yeah, he couldn't handle the occult stuff. I mean,
yeah,
kind of a big ask even now,
it is. I mean, it makes
especially at
sense.
that level. And then let's see, 1898 in July, Crowley dropped out of college, and he met a guy named Julian Baker, who shared. He was a chemist, and he shared Crowley's interest in alchemy. But Baker and his brother-in-law were both members of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. This is where it really kicks off.
That I've heard of. Okay.
The Golden Dawn was a occult and metaphysical secret society, kind of based on. I cannot sit still. That's not a thing. kind of based on like the structure and ceremonial style of Freemasons.
Okay.
I don't know if that means anything to anybody else.
Not a ton. I don't know a ton about them, but I know that they're very structural. Like they have a hierarchy and they're very secretive, and they have a lot of rituals. And
there's rituals and degrees, and I'm a Freemason, Master Mason, not practicing anymore. But it happens once, and then you're a Mason. But I'm not practicing. I don't go to the meetings or anything anymore. But yeah, so there's initiatory degrees and a lot of ceremony and metaphorical wordplay. But it's also based a lot on Rosicrucianism. There's a lot of stuff that's going to get thrown out.
Go back.
This whole thing.
What's that word you just said? Rosicrucianism. What is it?
Rosicrucianism. So the Rose Cross is what it means. It's another kind of philosophy that also still exists and supposedly has been around for hundreds and hundreds of years, if not thousands. But it's the best way it was ever explained to me is spiritual alchemy. So there's magic involved in the sense that you do certain things to try to improve yourself spiritually.
Leo says they get brought up a lot with the Knights Templar.
They do. And with Freemasons both. There are kind of offshoots of Freemasons that have a claim to the Knights Templar, whether or not that could be proven, whatever. But a lot of this stuff sort of interweaves. And we could do whole episodes just on one of those things.
Well, we could come back and revisit that.
But Golden Dawn was a huge deal. It was
just make you like a regular.
Basically, every kind of magic, and I'm going to say magic with a K, because that's what Crowley actually started that.
He did. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Magic with a K to differentiate it from like stage magic. And basically everything we know since the late 19th century comes from the Golden Dawn.
Wow. Okay.
Thelema, Crowley's stuff, and Wicca, and we'll get into that a tiny bit later on, because Gerald Gardner, the guy that essentially invented Wicca as we understand it, knew Crowley and was a member of one of his organizations and sort of broke off and did his own thing.
Shit! I didn't know that either. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's all connected. So Crowley was initiated in the Golden Dawn November 18th, 1898 by Samuel Little McGregor Mathers. Another you do a whole episode just on this guy.
Oh yeah, is he crazy?
Yeah, he did a lot of stuff. He was fairly famous in occult circles at this time. He was, like, the Golden Dawn was him essentially, and he was what they call a polyglot. He spoke a lot of different languages.
Yeah.
To an arguable degree.
Kind of in awe of people who can do that. Like.
Yeah. So some of the like magic books that we have now, we only know at all really because he found some ancient, German or Spanish or Latin book and translated it into English. So
this is
and remember when we got rid of a bunch of books when we were in Florida, and I was like, I hope they don't look at these too close. Most of these books I'm talking about. So there's the book of Abramelin the Magician. And
this is the guy that initiated it. This is Samuel Little Mathers.
Yeah. He looks crazy.
He was. Most of these people were.
He was.
But anyway, so and then he translated the Lesser Key of Solomon, which is a book about demons in their hierarchy, how to safely call them here and make them do what you want. Which I had and read, and
frightening.
It is. I never did
very
anything in that
interesting,
book.
but frightening.
Yeah, I never did anything in that book. I don't believe in demons, but just in case. If I'm wrong and I do this wrong,
not even like a little one.
It's gonna go bad.
Slow burn, and that's how we ended up.
Pretty sure. And he also it said consolidated the Enochian language and magic system. So supernatural, you'll know that Enochian is supposedly the language of the angels. So he took works.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Yes, it's real.
No, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about what they just said.
What? Yeah.
I've never seen Supernatural.
The Goetia.
Stop it.
I've never seen Supernatural.
Okay, this podcast is over, and you need to just...
Oh my god, you will love Supernatural. It's so good.
I can't.
I've been hearing this for years, and I just have never gotten around to it. Yeah, Leo says he still watch Supernatural. Leo has told me to basically watch it up to like 5, and then after 5 it kind of gets kind of funky.
No,
and I've heard that from almost
fantastic.
everybody.
Leo, you're fired.
I would agree.
It takes a left turn.
Did we talk about this then too? Leo says they still remedy
that, but apparently.
Sorry.
Oh, you know what? There's another thing that links this to Supernatural. So Crowley's personal sigil was a unicursal hexagram, which is a 6-sided star that you can make without lifting your pen. It's one line.
Okay.
And Supernatural uses that during the whole Men of Letters thing. It was all over their doors. Yeah. Yep, she's got it.
Oh, I have tried to do that like several times, and
I can only ever do it when I'm looking straight at the thing.
That guy, is it this one, the first one?
That first one, yep.
Yeah, okay.
Unicursal hexagram. Anyway, so and Mathers, like with the Enochian language, he got that from John Dee and Edward Kelly. John Dee was a...
Sorry, I got distracted. I need you to back up. It's called a unicursal hexagram. So
yeah.
One is
one
cursive. Does that mean line?
Yeah,
so
one
cursive
line.
writing is written like it's called cursive because it's one line. So unicursal, one line hexagram. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I just
when your brain works.
Anyway, Mathers is interesting all on his own. He did a lot of stuff.
Okay.
And then Crowley was initiated and then took the magical name Frater Perdurabo, which he put on everything he wrote for years and years. It was written by Frater Perdurabo. He interpreted, Frater means brother. He interpreted the rest of it to mean I shall endure to the end. Bury him. So for the rest of the 19th century, he learned as much as he could about ceremonial magic. He had a tutor from the Golden Dawn moved in with him, and again, this is just a crazy rich kid. Basically, he's got a ton of money, and he spends most of his life learning about and perfecting his version of ceremonial magic and traveling around the world, climbing mountains.
Is his mom still alive?
You know what? It didn't mention when she died. His dad died, like I said, in 18 whatever, and it never mentioned his mother again. So I don't know. Apparently, she didn't play a big part in the rest of his life. But
well, I just want to know who's running the ale house.
All I
sure
know
what
is
this is.
he
I just
owned
thought
it.
it was interesting.
Israel Regardi. So, yet another guy that's connected to Crowley and the Golden Dawn and the rest of it.
Okay.
So this guy taught Crowley about ritual drug use, which is using drugs to induce kind of a
different state of consciousness.
Trance, different states of mind.
Yeah.
Trance, like
A lot of cultures do that and have done that.
Yeah,
through the ages, so
sure.
Terribly.
And he talks about it in his books, but he talks about like other ways, chanting and drumming and whatever. What's going on?
When you disappear, it looks like he's made you disappear.
Right?
So sorry. My computer is dying and it was yelling at me, so I had to get straight out.
It's weird.
I have a lot of stuff plugged into it.
When you said that though about the picture of Crowley, making it disappear, there's an anecdote that Crowley used to talk about, as far as his magic reel, and he claims that he could like walk behind a person, and like a fair enough distance to not like hit them or anything, but he'd walk behind a person, mimic their like every movement, and then like purposely trip and make them trip. Whether or not that's true, I always like that story. So ritual drug use, he moved up the Golden Dawn's degrees really quickly. They have like an inner circle and an outer circle kind of, structure, and he moved into the Mathers brought him into the inner circle. And that eventually led to a pretty serious power struggle between like Crowley and Mathers, and the rest of the order in London.
So the two of them against the world.
And they were
Okay.
eventually they were both eventually like, you gotta go.
You and me, baby. Against the world.
Well, Crowley had a pretty serious way of getting involved in these organizations and like taking over, and not everybody cared for that. Ooh, Kabbalah. Yep, that's part of it. Tree of Life. Part of what we'll talk about is while he traveled around, and legitimately everywhere, he sort of took bits and pieces from different cultures and incorporated it into his system. The Kabbalah plays a big part, numerology and Hindu and Buddhist like meditation and and it gets pretty deep. Like, I never got as deep into the practice as I wanted to because I thought that some of the expectations were quite high, and like I can't just meditate for days on end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't blame you.
We're not all independently wealthy, sir.
We gotta go to work. Got families.
Right.
Got responsibility.
Yeah.
Let me take a quick break just to ask a quick question. Mm-hmm. I just noticed we're already at 40 minutes.
Oh dear.
Oh yeah.
And if you wanted to do one episode on him and then the second one on the other stuff, we probably need to.
All right, I'll speed it up.
Talking about stuff we're going to talk about a little bit.
Okay. If we can keep it just like under an hour, that would be cool.
I will do my best.
Okay.
So they got ousted. 1904, he married Rose Edith Kelly. They took their honeymoon, and this is a pivotal moment. They took their honeymoon in Cairo, Egypt. While there, him and Rose claimed that they were a prince and princess, so they got this like luxury accommodations and stuff. and he was experimenting with Islamic mysticism, and Crowley claims that Rose kept kind of going into trances and saying weird stuff to him, like they are waiting. And so it turns out they was the god Horus. And while in Cairo on April 8th, 1904, Crowley claims he heard a disembodied voice, Rose.
Oh, she's this is Rose.
No, I think it's disembodied voice that said its name was Iwas and was the messenger of Horus. Aiwas. He was the messenger of Horus. Crowley then wrote down everything that was told to him, and that became Liber Albel Legis, or the Book of the Law, the defining holy book of Thelema, the religion. This is the crux of him creating this new religion. And we'll talk about that more in the next part. In 1905, July 28th, Rose gave birth to Crowley's daughter Lillie.
Of course.
Lilith.
Of course, her name is Lilith, though.
He kept doing his mountain climbing thing. He was part of the initial expeditions to the second and third highest peaks in the world in India. K2,
Wow.
which is
Holy
a famous mountain.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm going to butcher this, but Kanchenjunga. And that one led to the death of 4 of Crowley's fellow climbers. Apparently, he warned them that's not the way you're going to die if you go that way. And then they did. And he apparently heard them screaming and was like, I told you.
Oh, yep, just like, too bad. Should've known.
He wasn't
I said.
universally a good guy. He kept traveling through Asia. He spent a lot of time in China and Japan. Like I said, yeah.
That is K2.
That's
K2.
serious. So he spent a lot of time in Asia, China, Japan, India. Got into East Asian mystical practice, which, like I said, would tie into his stuff. While he was doing all that, Rose and Lilith eventually went back to Europe, and when he returned, or England specifically, when he returned, he found out that Lilith had died of typhoid. And he blamed Rose because she was increasingly alcohol dependent. In 1907, Rose gave birth to Crowley's second daughter, Lola Zaza, while Crowley was philandering about with another author lady and an actress, one of whom's nickname was Lola.
I would have.
he named his daughter after his mistress.
Okay.
That would have been the last breath you ever took.
Yeah.
Oh, what name was Lola? I really like that name. Oh,
It's just so pretty.
In
Hey,
the 19...
Lola.
Wait a minute.
Excuse me.
You did that, bitch? No. 1907 in November, Crowley and Cecil Jones, the old mentor from the Golden Dawn, founded a new occult order meant to be the successor of the Golden Dawn. This was known as the AA. It's still around today. I'm technically still a student, very lowest level. The AA, and here it's A with 3 dots,
Alcoholics Anonymous.
and then A with 3 dots.
Hey, Lily, keep your typhoid Lily joke to yourself.
It stands for either Argentium Astrum or Astron Argon, both of which mean the same thing. And first one's Latin, second one's Greek. It means silver star. Some members claim it's Astron Argon specifically because of numerology and stuff. Crowley divorced Rose due to her alcoholism in 1909 on the grounds of his own infidelity. But they remained friends until her institutionalization for alcoholism in 1911.
You're drunk, so we're gonna lock you into a crazy house? Grippy
Wait,
talk
they did
vacation
worse
for
to
all
less.
the alcoholics. Like,
Did
what?
he divorce her on the grounds
Of his
of
own
his own infidelity to save her from the stigma of her being the reason for the divorce?
No, I'm sure it was just the fastest way to do it.
Makes sense.
And let's see, in January 1910, Mathers sued Crowley for publishing Golden Dawn secrets in his own works. Crowley, like we talked about, wrote so much. And I mean, he had an ongoing publication like monthly called The Equinox, and it's still part of, you know, the like holy words. The lawsuit was very public, and Crowley won, but he gained the public persona as a Satanist, and he was very excited about it. And this is when he publicly became known as the Beast. Like, yeah. In 1912, Crowley was inducted into the Ordo Templi Orientis, OTO, which means it means Order of the Eastern Temple, or Order of the Oriental Templars, however you want to. You know.
Ooh, the Equinox.
The OTO,
really nice.
But by one of the founders named Theodore Roos. The OTO was a Freemason knockoff group. You had to be a Freemason to join. It was just more of the same. But Crowley again rose through the ranks of the OTO, and with this one of the founders' blessings, he began rewriting all of their rituals to be Thelema rituals. Eventually he took over entirely. The OTO exists now as a Thelemic group. During World War I, Crowley toured North America. At this point, his inheritance was gone, and he was living off of donations from the AA and OTO members. During this time, he experimented heavily with sex magic, and just generally whoring around everywhere. Oh, we can talk about that later. It's not really appropriate.
I don't know if anything's appropriate.
We'll have to do another episode on sex.
Yeah, we could. It that connects also to chaos magic. I don't know why it keeps. I'm not touching anything.
You have the volume control on yours.
I didn't know that. Anyway, blah 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 blah. OTO during World War I, he was in North America. He was pro-Germany in World War I, and he got involved with one of the like kind of pro-German publications, which turned out was being facilitated by a German spy living in America. To be fair, though, he only ever used it to promote his own crap. Like,
okay.
It was just another publication that he could.
He's just advertising through the spy network.
And then let's see. In 1920, he moved in with a friend and his family to a commune in Sicily that was dubbed the Abbey of Thelema. That's actually in. I can't not think about it. It's in a Marilyn Manson song from his first album. We're gonna ride to the Abbey of Thelema. Anyway, there it was ritual activity and debauchery. Like, no one ever cleaned anything. There were kids running around. There were kids that were privy to some of this sex magic, and drugs and whatever. And eventually Mussolini figured out what he was doing and was like, okay, everybody out.
Mussolini had a problem with it?
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty bad if, like...
Yeah, that's the Abbey of Thelema.
This is today, obviously. Like, yeah. Apparently, it's actually a place listed on Atlas Obscura as an interesting place to go see.
Yeah. Oh, I would love to go see it. But, I mean, I've seen pictures of the inside. It's pretty dilapidated. But, yeah, that's in Sicily.
I would not say no to a trip in Sicily.
And at this point, Crowley was a raging heroin addict, and cocaine had started to eat away at his nasal cavity.
Oh, great.
He wrote a book called Diary of a Drug Fiend around this time also. Let's see. He continued to travel around Europe. I don't know how he kept doing this. I'm broke, but I can't go to Europe. I can barely make it to North Carolina.
You're also not the leader of a bunch of
that's
crazy
true.
people.
That's true.
I could be a cult leader.
He's by the way.
Oh, I could be. I just don't. It's too much.
I don't wanna.
This is about when he took over the OTO. He settled in France for a while before being deported. He married a Nicaraguan woman to give her British citizenship, and then he just kept pissed off some more. Yeah. He ended up.
Oh, and there's that symbol, the what's it called?
Unicursal hexagram.
Unicursal
With kind of a, his particular one had a little like clover in the middle of it too.
Is that what that? Okay, all I can see is like kind of a blob in the middle, but
yeah. So he went back to the States, gave a bunch of like public lectures. He ended up meeting Jack Parsons, another extraordinarily interesting person who was a rocket scientist.
He was on an episode of Lore.
Yes, he was.
A TV show.
He ended up blowing himself up because he was a rocket scientist. But he was like part of the like he helped start NASA and stuff. This was a really famous, like crazy person. And he also knew, Jack Parsons also knew Scientology guy. And then this was 1937, the rise of L. Ron Hubbard, thank you. The rise of the Nazi Party. Crowley was like, I betcha I can make Hitler, I might. And turns out, no, not so much. Hitler abolished the German branch of the OTO, and then Crowley was like, he's a black magician.
Don't like it. Kind of just like no nasal cavity.
But so Crowley associated during World War II with a bunch of members of the British intelligence community, including Roald Dahl and Ian Fleming, of the creator of James Bond.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought the name sounded familiar, but I couldn't figure out what it was like.
And he claimed he was responsible for the whole V for victory thing, which,
I just felt very...
he claims a lot of things. After the war, Crowley met Gerald Gardner and authorized him to revive the British branch of the OTO. Gardner later went on to found Gardnerian Wicca, which all I don't want to say all, but most Wicca we know today is Gardnerian. Mm-hmm. And then 1947 December, Crowley died of bronchitis at the age of 72. He was cremated, and his ashes was sent to his successor as the head of the OTO, a guy named Carl Germer, or Germer, it's with the G, I don't know how it's pronounced, who buried them in his backyard in New Jersey. That's
what a way to die.
Aleister Crowley in a
all
nutshell.
All this crap.
Bronchitis. But at some point he had chlamydia. Gonorrhea.
Probably syphilis.
Possibly. And did all the drugs. And
you've got enough when you're
he really like
deteriorate. Like that should be the cutoff.
I was always interested in him as a a cult figure, but the man was also a
he's cute.
prolific.
That's Carl Germer.
Carl Germer, yeah.
Looks like somebody's really cute grandpa.
Right.
They probably call him Pop Pop.
Right.
But that's Crowley's, abbreviated biography. Biology.
And I just wanted you guys all heard it. The only reason Steve has not taken over the world is his work ethic at this point.
Not at this point, at every point.
Every point.
I could have started this 20 years ago, but my God.
So much work.
Yeah.
I just want to sit. Somebody else can
can you
bring it to me.
Call me the head of this, and you guys do all this.
I don't think it works.
We're going to skip to the end.
Well, that was really interesting. Thank you. I know that it was hard to keep us on track, and I have a zillion questions. And I like to sidetrack whoever's talking.
I can dig it, but we gotta, if we're still down, got a part 2 that we can answer some of this stuff in.
Yep, that'll be fun. So make sure you stick around next week for part 2.
Yeah.
Guess what? I'm feeling better. Like, just as an update. My bruises
they almost died.
Why'd you almost die?
I don't know how my feet work. I fell over like a lot.
I I'm in urgent care. What the hell?
I had a little baby concussion. It was barely even there.
Jesus.
Barely even was there. And a bunch of bruises, and I smacked my head real hard on a shelf, and then I fell down at one of the haunts we went to.
Good Lord.
But I'm feeling a lot better. I took my brace
Yay.
off today, and I haven't needed to put it back on all day. My bruises are healing up. Still no headache.
As much as I'm a walking calamity, I've never got a concussion.
We can change that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I never passed out from drinking either. I got sturdy head knees.
Head meats and cheese.
I have had a few. A few others self-inflicted as well. Yay. So, yep, that's what I've been up to. Just kind of hanging out, making dick ornaments, and
a worthy endeavor, if ever I
It is a
heard
worthy
one.
endeavor. Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody has to do it, and damn it, Rexy's gonna be the one.
that's right.
So freaking hot.
What have you guys been up to? What did you do this last week?
Nothing.
Or weekend? Did you do anything over the weekend?
Anything.
We did stuff.
A story for you about this weekend, but I'm not going to make it public knowledge.
Okay, so
Fun.
story after the recording stops.
When the recording stops.
Okay.
Because it can escalate very quickly in real life.
Okay.
And I don't want it.
Well, then I want to stop the recording because I want to hear this story. So come back next week. And also remember that we have a TikTok now. So go follow us over on our TikTok.
We have a TikTok now, babe.
Sweet, I should follow you on TikTok.
Yeah. So
As should
this
all.
has been the morning report.
The morning report.
You should
What about you two are fighting on video and Leo and I are fighting?
have. Ticky-tacky.